Hello and welcome to Geoscope on Politics Social. My name is Graham Hughes. We will be joined by Ollie Bowler Hatman in a moment, but he's just making his way here. So while he's making his way to the studio, he must be held up in traffic or something. I just want to say a big hello and shout out to Diz in particular. Hey Diz, I got to meet Diz in real life at the weekend. How awesome is that? And also Chris in there. We've got Richard. We've got Sarah and Pete's Music. We've got Pygmalion. We've got Harry Flashman. We've got Graham Hallar. We've got Hannah Manking Tube. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Sorry if I'm not saying that right, Hannah. Hannah. I've got a friend from Denmark, I think, who spells her name Hanne, Hanne, but pronounces it Hannah. Anyway, we are going to be talking today a little bit to get started with Russia. Russia blowing up the ceasefire again that it had with Ukraine. According to some military analysts, Russia has broken 190 international agreements signed with Ukraine and other countries in the lead up to the invasion. Vladimir Putin repeatedly attacked Ukraine's right to exist. And since the war started in earnest 3 years ago, Zelenskyy has accused Russia of violating at least 25 ceasefires. 25. So they sit down, right, and they go, all right, we're going to have a ceasefire. What are we going to have a ceasefire? Well, on energy infrastructure, because it's a bit horrible, in the middle of winter, to be going after the energy infrastructure. It's a bit of a war crime, And don't forget, when Ukraine is bombing or sending drones out to Russia, it tends to be going after the refineries, which are making money for the Russian war machine. But when it comes to Russia attacking Ukraine, they're attacking power stations and substations and energy infrastructure because they're trying to freeze the people of Ukraine to death. I see the difference. Now, the other day, Ukraine and Russia, they had an agreement. Let's stop going after each other's energy infrastructure, they said. Ukraine said, we'll stop blowing up your refineries. And Russia said, okay, we'll stop blowing up your substations and your power stations. And what did Russia do today? They sent, 400 drones over to in violation of this ceasefire, over to Ukraine to blow shit up. But before we go any further, Ollie Bowler Hatman has entered the chat. Hello, Ollie Bowler Hatman.
Hi, I'm here.
How
here, Graham.
Devil are you?
I'm very, very well.
I was telling everyone you got stuck in traffic and you were finding it hard to get to the studio in time. In time.
Well, it is snowing a bit up here in Yorkshire at the moment. So
is it a bit snowy?
It's a bit snowy.
We don't have any snow here in Durham. It's just been overcast. Today, it was like darkness at noon. It was like Arthur Koestler out there. I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, is the sun ever going to come out and bless us with its shiny yellow face? I don't think it will. We've got some people in the chat here saying the US Navy stated the drone was acting aggressively towards the aircraft carrier. How the fuck does a drone act aggressively? Well, I don't know. Goes close and then pulls back. It goes close, I don't know. Maybe it was making like a roaring sound. And Tommy says, I used to think Google was the real life equivalent of Skynet until I found out about Palantir. Yeah. And Bowler Hatman in the chat, who's got a big spanner, says, soon. Hey, listen, if you want to join the chat, you are very welcome to do so. All you need to do is subscribe to the channel and wait for 1 minute and you'll be able to join in with the other people in the chat. But please be nice. Don't be horrible. Life's too short. Isn't it, Ollie?
Yep.
Yeah.
How is that possible? What's that? We've got to go in this. Sarah Davis has said, apparently you never get snow in Barry. How is that possible? Like Barry's in Wales. Surely you get a ton of snow.
Yeah, but it's South Ireland. It's South Wales, isn't it?
Barry Island. Okay.
Yeah, so
different climate.
Oh, it's tropical, mate. It's tropical. They have palm trees. They have siestas in the afternoon. They do. True story. So yeah, I was just talking about Russia's latest debacle. Over 100, I said over 400 attack drones. It's actually over 450, and with over 70 missiles as well. It's a record number for ballistic missiles in a single day. The targets, as I've said, were explicitly civilian and energy related, so power stations, substations, heating plants as well.
Well, you know what Ukraine should do? Just start striking their oil producing factories like they did before. That's what they need to start doing again.
There's a good chance that that's what's going to happen, I fear. So yeah, we've got this happened during freezing temperatures, with parts of Ukraine experiencing minus 20 degrees C. Cities badly hit include Kharkiv, which just gets pummeled all the time, Dnipro, Odessa, Zaporizhia, Vinnytsia, I'm probably saying that wrong, sorry, and Kyiv have all been hit. And in Kyiv alone, over 1,000 apartment buildings have been left without heating. Meanwhile, in Kharkiv, over 270,000 people have been left without heat. Civilians have been forced to shelter in dark, freezing flats for hours or even days. So yeah, this was a UN-backed ceasefire, energy ceasefire, and Moscow have claimed that it expired on February the 1st. He didn't tell anyone.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens in this, but I obviously it's Putin. You know, he doesn't respect ceasefires at all. You know, imagine my shock that he's not respected this one.
Fair enough
on that one.
Yeah. So, but this is explicitly the MO of the Russian military state, the Russian imperialistic state. They will say that they want a ceasefire, and they will use that time to restock their armaments. And then as soon as they've got all the things in the right position, they fire them all off again.
Yep.
I mean, a ceasefire to Russia, it's just a breathing space for them to not get bombed while they get ready to start another attack. And this has happened time and time again. Before you came on, I mentioned that it's 25 times now. Over 25. Zelenskyy accused Putin of violating the ceasefire agreements 25 times. That was back in April last year. And there's been plenty more since then. And this wasn't a breakdown of, communication. This is a deliberate, tactical deception. And it keeps happening. It's like Groundhog Day. Everyone's talking about Groundhog Day. Is it Groundhog Day today?
Yep.
Or was it yesterday?
Oh no. Groundhog Day's, is it 1st of February? No. Is it Groundhog Day 1st of February?
Tony Phil. Yeah, 7 hours. Groundhog Day. Oh God, it's just giving me all the. I want the date. When is
Monday?
Monday. It was yesterday. Yesterday was Groundhog Day, and he made his prediction. I'm looking at Forbes because it's a really important article that needs to be on Forbes website. Tony Phil. Did he see his shadow? It's just talking at me about stuff. Now it's talking about the movie. Now it's talking the science behind the scenes. Did he see his shadow? Did he see? All I need to know is, did the groundhog see his shadow?
How is there not a website dedicated to this?
Come on, Tony Phil.
There's going to be a website.
It's in it. It's one of those things where you type in, like, how do you, turn the vacuum cleaner off, and you have to trudge through a load of backstory. Or if you look up a recipe on the internet, and it's they need to write out the life story before they can tell you what the actual bloody recipe is.
Speaking of which, because this is a good time to bring this up, I posted earlier on in this week a study that had been done by the Center for Strategic International Studies about the Ukraine-Russia war, and they've done a lot of studying basically on Russia, and they've estimated that they have suffered over 1.2 million casualties.
That's not deaths, though, is it? That's injuries as well. That's deaths and injuries.
Yeah, so that 1.2 million number. That's more losses
fucking insane,
than any major power since World War II.
That is, isn't it?
And they estimate, according to this, that it could reach over 2 million by the spring.
By this spring?
Yeah.
What, are they ramping up efforts to kill themselves? Well, not kill themselves.
This is it.
Kill
The
the lads going
kill
over.
that they've estimated here that the kill to death ratio is that for every Ukrainians, the Russians lose 2.5. So, when you were on the attack, that tends to what's happened. You lose more men in that, and that seems to be what's
it's
driving
easier to
this
defend a position than to attack a position, isn't it?
Yep.
Because if you think about, like, you've got someone who's up on a tower and they're shooting at people down on the ground, it's hard for them to get the person in the tower, but the person in the tower. Yep. Miss Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £1 super chat. Starting off the super chat fund this evening. On the drone, I gather the Iranians were trying to hijack a US oil tanker at the time. So there's that. Not great. Not great at all. I've just started the little the super chat fund thing for the confetti. So if anyone wants to drop in the super chat of any flavour, of any price, we will eventually, I'm sure, by the end of the show, get to confetti. We need 5 of them. Also, at the end of the show, I'll be shunting everyone who's watching this over to our wonderful friend Max's channel. And Maximilian Robespierre, chatting with him earlier today. And I was talking about the only way Trump is going to get out of office is, there's only one way he's leaving the White House. And then I put, isn't that right, Maximilian? Wink. Wink. If you know your history. Anyway, where do you think this is going next then? Do you think that this is just going to rattle on? Because we were talking about having a frozen war, frozen conflict. I can't see that. I think this is just going to, like, what I told you when I went there and we were chatting with a police officer near the border. He said to us he reckons it was going to be another 10 years. And that was a couple of years ago. So the Ukrainian people seem to be in it for the long haul. They know it's going to be difficult.
Oh, yeah, they are.
And they're just going to keep fighting to their last, man, woman, or child.
It's how long can, first of all, how long can the Russian economy hold on? Again, if you look up that report, in fact, tell you what, I'll drop a link in the chat as well so everyone can see it. There we go.
Okay. There we go. And I've pinned that. God, that was a good little pincer movement there. You put the link in and I pinned it to the chat. There's the report there from CSIS.
But it just goes to show you the state of the Russian military gains, that they're advancing basically slower than a snail at this point. They estimated that the average rate of advance is between 15 to 70 meters per day. And they've lost, they've injured or killed 1.2 million. And this is slower, again, according to this, is slower than almost any major offensive campaign in any war in the last century.
Now, here's the thing, right? Russia could run out of money. It really could. It could run out of backers. I know it's got crypto. I know it's selling oil on the black market. I know it's got all these little outs. It's got oligarchs around the world, hoovering up property and buying gold off Nigel Farage or whatever. But their money, I don't think, is unlimited. I think the money going towards Ukraine, I hope I'm not wrong with this, but I think it is pretty much unlimited. Because although America might stop giving money, I can't see the rest of Europe stopping doing that.
Oh, no. Yeah. I mean, we've always got to remember, I always bring this up, the Netherlands, they are paying for Ukraine's civil service. They are paying the Ukrainian civil service wages. They have been since 2024. So that is something that we constantly see, European countries do and stepping up to do on that one. And now, of course, you've got the fact that you've got all this money going into production now, especially artillery production, shell production, military production that other these countries have now also gone into. So that will be improving. So there's very, very likely now just more and more weapons will go to Ukraine. So time is on their side. And I'm just looking through the report now because there was a point somewhere and it talks about the Russian people somewhere. It talks about how like they feel about the war. And there's an increasingly now, according to this, I'm just trying to find it in the report somewhere, but there's an increasing feeling, according to these people, that there's more and more people around them that don't support the war.
Yeah.
So that is something that will change quite significantly, because if Putin does lose popular support, that will also be a very, very big problem.
Yeah.
You've got the whole thing of the also, I think it's mentioned, I think this is the one where it mentions, it talks about recruitment problems that they're now having, that they're struggling to get people to recruit. So they're now looking at maybe having to activate conscription. If they do activate conscription, that is something that Putin has avoided trying to do throughout this war, because he knows it's a very big it would be very unpopular if he did do it, but it would also mean that he would have to draw now from his two areas of big support, which is of course in and around St. Petersburg and Moscow. They haven't done too much recruiting in and around that area, because again, that's where Putin's majority support comes from. That if they do start to do that, then there's going to be a huge, I think, societal problems at that point on that one.
Yeah, I agree.
It's going to lose a lot of support.
To go on to the, I'll just address these two super chats that have come in. And first of all, we've got SG, who's got £10 super chat coming in. Not only did this is about Musk's officers getting invaded, the ex-officers getting invaded.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we are going to come to that.
We'll get to that.
It is on our agenda. But yeah, this is brilliant. Thank you very much, SG, for posting this. Not only did the Paris cybercrime raid ex-officers, they rubbed it in by posting on X about the raid. Then they retired their X account, so their final post is that they are raiding Musk. Absolute legend, which is fantastic. And Mark there with a reminder, actually. Did Wayne do his penance with Scope? I don't think he has yet. So I'm gonna make a big note of that, because he promised to do that. If you don't know what we're talking about there, you don't watch enough of this channel. But Wayne said something that was incredibly inappropriate, and we decided what his penance should be. So we'll have to hold him to that. And when we do, I'll make sure that he films it on his phone and shows us him actually, helping out in the community. Okay, so I've got another super chat. They're flooding in this evening. It's because I've got Ollie on the show. They're just throwing money at you. You're like a lady. You're like a lady up on stage, dancing about in a underwear. It's amazing. This is awesome. Tim Bannon has just put £2 in your garter. Helicopter scanning SF for radiation ahead of SB. Okay, Tim likes to do his cryptic crosswords. So what? Helicopter scanning SF San Francisco for radiation against ahead of SB Super Bowl. What do you reckon? Helicopter scanning San Francisco for radiation ahead of Super Bowl. That's what I reckon that means.
Yeah, I think that they're looking for like dirty bombs, I believe, or things like that. From what I believe it is.
13 down, 5 and 4. Super Bowl. That's the answer. Cool. And that fits with the other clues I've got. So thank you very much, Tim. That was really helpful. So just go back to Russia for a moment. So I tend to try and look at stuff when we talk about politics, international politics, domestic politics, US politics, through the lens of money, because I think that is the big deciding factor, because we live in a capitalist society, unfortunately, and it's all about who's got the money to do what. Russia built up this massive war chest, literally a war chest to go to war, leading up to the invasion of Ukraine in 2023. And they made it. It's 2020. Was it 2022? Was it? Was it 2022?
Yep.
It was 2022. It's come up to the 4-year anniversary now.
Yep.
Oh my God. That's insane. 24th of February, so it's this month. 4 years, man.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's flown.
Yep.
So let's talk about the money side of things, right? I say that the EU and the UK are not going to stop funding Ukraine, right? And just look at the figures here, okay? I want everyone to sort of acknowledge the figures. The GDP, the nominal GDP, and I know GDP is not a great way to measure things, but the nominal GDP of Russia is around $2.5 trillion, right? The GDP of the UK plus the EU is roughly 26.75 trillion. You're talking 10 times the amount. And that's why I think that no matter what happens in terms of the Russians trying to push forward and trying to keep bombing and trying to get new allies on board now that North Korea and Iran aren't supplying as many weapons as they were, I think they're going to find it very, very difficult. I really do. Just because you are by a 10-1 margin fighting against powers that do not want you there. So that gives me a little bit of a spring in my step in all this misery that is being foisted on us by Putin for literally no reason whatsoever. He's only got the biggest country in the world. It needs to be bigger, obviously. But the other thing is that Russia is 65th on the list of countries by per capita GDP. 65th. That's kind of pathetic. It's below Trinidad and Tobago. It's below Palau, which no one knows where it is or what they do, but there is a country called Palau. I know, I've been there. It's below Panama. It's below St. Kitts and Nevis. I mean, for Christ's sake, I've been to St. Kitts and Nevis. It's a lovely place, but a lot of the locals live in little shacks. It's not salubrious by any stretch of the imagination. And Russia's sort of going, we can keep doing this, And I just wonder how much it's going to take for the Russian people to say no more. Because you imagine this was a Western country, right? Or not a Western country, but let's say a democratic country, because that brings everybody in. Let's say this is a democratic country, and they had lost. How many of you said? Did you say it was 1.2 million casualties? Yep. So they've had 1.2 million casualties. I think about 1 in 4 of them were deaths, right? So you talk about hundreds of thousands of soldiers coming home in coffins for a war that people just didn't want, for a war that most people saw as unnecessary. I mean, they'll be burning down the Capitol. They'll be burning down the Parliament building. They'll be burning down Buckingham Palace. They'll be bringing out guillotines. Do you know what I mean? Like, I do wonder how long, money aside, the Russian people are just going to put up with this shit.
Yeah. I don't think they'll put up with it, honestly, for much longer, because this war, remember, was promised, it'll be a quick war, it'll be over very quickly.
3 days, wasn't it? A 3-day special operation.
3 days. 3-day special military operation, now in day 1,000 and something,
1,427, I think.
Yeah, these casualties are going to be, very wide-ranging. We talked about at one point where, at some point everyone knew someone who had or had been affected by COVID. It wouldn't be too surprising to me if at this point in Russia, there's pretty much every single person knows someone who has been either killed or been injured in this war.
Yeah. Jesus. Tim says Russia GDP is probably lower than Little St. James 666. So thanks very much, Tim. Little St. James is the name of Epstein's Island was it the US Virgin Islands? Somewhere around there.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my God. How many days did I just say? Can someone rewind the tape? I said around 1,427. Is that what I said? Can someone go back and check? I've just looked it up. It's 1,437. Come on, that was pretty close for a guesstimate. For it's about 4 years. How many days in 4 years? Rewind the tape. I might be wrong. I might have said it was 7,000. I didn't. I don't think I did. But yeah, thanks very much for the super chat, Tim. And that does mean we only need one more super chat to get the confetti. So, do you want to talk about this anymore? You got anything more to say, or should we move on to Elon Musk having his offices raided in France?
Oh, let's move on to Musk.
Okay, just before we go, there was a NATO Secretary General was in Kyiv during the Mark Rutte. He was in Kyiv during the air raid, and he said that the key NATO messages are that Ukraine is ready to play ball, but Russia is creating chaos, which it absolutely is,
Yep.
and using civilians as leverage. And the US is just fucking useless. They keep going, oh, we got a ceasefire. Quick, give Donald Trump a fucking gold star and a jelly baby. Oh, we could get down a jelly baby. Well done. But yes, this is, the peace talks are now happening under active fire with trust obliterated and with civilians freezing. So, like I said, I think those red lines are just going to get more hardened. After all this, Ukraine's not going to hand anything over to Russia.
Yep.
They're just going to keep going. Ooh, Tim Ballum says, £2 to chat. What time is it, Graham? It is 7:59. Is that okay?
Ooh.
What do you mean when I said it? It was just before I said it's just before I looked it up. You saw me typing. I don't know. Stay watching the live show. But thank you very much for the super chat, which also had the wonderful extra special effect of triggering confetti. Woo! Yay! We love a bit of confetti on this channel. And Diz says, confetti time! Yay, confetti! Woo! And Nunez says, I thought you said 1,417, so I was 20 off. I got all the figures right except one. Come on, that was.
Well, you were close. Close.
Although ChatGPT might be lying to me, I don't know. Anyway, so thanks very much for everyone who just dropped in a super chat there. Since we're only halfway through the show, I'll start the goal again. If we do want to have another bit of confetti before the end.
Make it Chico time.
Let's talk. Let's talk about Elon Musk's X and the fact that they were sexually assaulting women digitally and putting up pictures of children. And now actually at least one country in the world is finally taking action against it, and it's France. So tell us more about this.
So all this investigation apparently started in January. And this is, as you said, it includes CP creating explicit deepfakes of women, Holocaust denial content as well, which is a crime in France.
That's a crime in France.
Yep.
Crime in Germany as well.
That's something else they're going after as well.
Wow.
And of course, suspected abuse of algorithms and fraudulent data extraction. So,
wow.
That is a big no. That is a very, very big.
I would like to see people serve time for this, because I'm sick of these companies getting fines and then they just engage in lawfare and it goes back and forth and the appeal and the appeal and the appeal, and then eventually they only have to pay like £17.50. And then, sorry, go on.
Yeah, if it's GDPR that they're going under, and again, I'm not too familiar with French law, but I know GDPR, so that's European law. GDPR under this law is it's a fine of up to, I can't remember now exactly, or it's, I believe, 5% of global turnover, which they might go for. Given the fact that it's, Twitter and it's run by Elon Musk now, that is going to be a whole heap of money if they go, right, give us 5% of your turnover.
Yeah, but they'll use creative accounting. That's the problem. They use creative accounting to say they've not made any money. Actually, if you think about it, our market cap isn't the amount that our company turned over. That's just how much our company is worth, because people be crazy. And then what they do is when they finally run out the justice process, and this isn't just tech companies that do this. The oil companies do this. The water companies do it. The electric companies do it. Any big company that just has to pay a fine. When they eventually get around to paying the fine, there'll be a headline fine of like $500 billion or something. And then it gets whittled down to about like 5 million. And that gets paid by an insurance company that they pay for stuff like this. It's so infuriating. This is why I'd like heads to roll.
Well, there's going to be hearings about this. So you'll look forward to those. Yeah. So these hearings are going to kick off in April. Yeah. So not only is Elon Musk going to be summoned to this, but they're also calling in the former CEO, Linda Yaccarano, if you remember her, brought in as an attempt to try and woo the advertisers back to the platform, and then basically failed to do so, and then has now been fired for her work on that. So it'd be very interesting to see if she's going to turn on Musk maybe in these hearings or not. We'll have to wait and see what happens when April rolls around for that one.
Is she going to turn up?
Oh yes, they've been summoned.
They have been summoned, but
It's,
like, can't they just ignore that?
no, it's they've this because it's an investigation. They have to because it's a French prosecutors have summoned it, so it will be a like a proper
But they're not French
um
citizens, are they? And Linda Yaccarino and Musk could just avoid. Well, look, I mean, it's hard to avoid France, isn't it? It spreads itself all over the globe. But
yeah,
also, they couldn't go anywhere with an extradition treaty with France.
yep.
But
So
I
that
don't.
was that'd be very yeah.
Does France have an extradition treaty with the US? Yes, it does. It does. It has a formal bilateral extradition treaty. Okay, so maybe they will have to turn up. I don't know, but these gobshites they're told to turn up in their parliament, aren't they? On their Congress in front of like a congressional select committee, and they just don't turn up. Remember, Bannon went to jail for that, didn't he? Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of a worry, but yeah. So they have been summoned, but that's both Elon Musk and the CEO. Well, former CEO. She says she's
Yeah,
left
former
now.
CEO, yeah.
Linda Yaccarino, and they've raided the Paris offices, as SG was saying, and of X or Twitter, as we used to call it back in the day. And yeah, abuse of algorithms and fraudulent data extraction, dissemination and possession of child sexual abuse material linked to the platform, sexualized AI deepfake images, and Holocaust denial, as you mentioned. But the thing also is that this has been done in conjunction with Europol. So it might happen in other places. It might happen in Spain. It might happen in Germany. It might happen in Italy. And it could be a bit of a house of cards because Musk has just announced that Tesla are no longer going to make cars.
Oh, well, that's going to tank their stock price.
No, it went up.
Well, okay.
It went up. It went up by 2%. Mate, I'm sorry, but whoever are the people who are buying Tesla stock are just absolutely mental. I have no idea what's going on there. It's like there's some voodoo economics going on. But basically, he said he was pivoting away from cars and towards those shit robots. You know the robots.
Oh,
Yeah.
the robot arms are actually like robots.
Yeah. So two of the models. There's the Model S and the Model S and the Model Y. I think are not going to get made. I think they're going to continue making the X or something like that. I don't know. There's one that they're going to keep doing, but the others they're retiring now. Are you looking it up?
Yeah, I'm just saying it as yes. So they're stopping production of Model S and the Model X to build robots.
Yeah. There you go.
So yeah, they're basically in a way, it's sort of not a surprise. If anyone knows about like manufacturing now, manufacturing is basically sort of shifting towards like robots being, in the factory anyway.
Yeah.
So being able to have like, robots in your factory is the next big thing. It's no longer as people assume, you go to work, you take your spanner and you go, like that all day, work the spanner and stuff gets made. But that's not how manufacturing is going now. It's now becoming, in goes the robot and it's just like done. And it's made like, 5 times what a human could do. That is the way manufacturing is going. That's just the future of manufacturing.
I mean, we've had robotics in car manufacturing for decades.
Oh yeah,
that's nothing new. There's a few more new ways of making stuff. I think I read last year about I think it was Ford doing modular cars, so the whole of it can be put together and then it gets put into 4 parts, which are then welded together. I don't know, like a cut and shut. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Also, there's a European arrest warrant. Fantastic. So yeah, hopefully that'll be used against them. But yeah, I'm thinking that what was the cyber fuck? That's been a huge disaster. And the Tesla Roadster. There you go. Here's something to ask the internet. How much pre-sales Tesla Roadster? It's telling me wow, some people paid 50,000 in advance with it was a 5,000 initial payment followed by a 45,000 wire transfer required after 10 days. And in total, oh God, I'm trying to find what they took in total. It must have been millions. It must have been absolutely millions for this vaporware, the Tesla Roadster. I think it was like a convertible Tesla or something. It never happened.
Yeah, the sports car version of the Tesla, yeah, essentially what he was banging on about. But I think he's never released it. They asked people to put all those down payments on, and they've never released a single one.
That is fucking crazy, isn't it? Fucking vaporware. Yeah, I'm trying to get internet to tell me the answers to the questions that I give it, but it uses AI now rather than actual good old-fashioned Google search, so it's hard to get an answer about anything. I'm getting a notification on my phone here because there's something that I want to talk to you about as well, which has been requested by our lovely friend of the channel, Rachel. She wants to talk about Costa Rica. Are you up to date with Costa Rica?
Costa Rica.
Yeah,
last time we talked about Costa Rica, I believe it was they were having a big problem with incarceration. Or is that a different one I'm thinking of? I might be thinking of a different country.
I don't know. Oh, okay. So, it's 1,000 people paid 250,000 for the Tesla, by the looks of things. Tim, if someone wants to give me the actual how much money that Elon Musk took off people for a car that he promised like 8 years ago and will never exist now, let me know in the chat. Tim, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. How's Musk feeling about his brother being in the Epstein files? Really sickening. They're also keeping the Cybercook. They're still making it, even though it's an absolute bloody disaster and it's costing a lot of money. And they keep on having to recall it because it's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. Apart from that. So there's a right-wing populist party in called the Sovereign People's Party. I mean, you can't make this up, can you? Sovereignty, people. We should make a party called we should call it the Women and Girls Party. They should call it our Women and Girls Party, so we can say that we're going to be sovereign and protect our women and girls. But Laura Fernandez, she's won the 2026 Costa Rican presidential election outright in the first round with about 48% of the vote, which is enough to avoid a runoff. So it's a 48-52 situation. But because the 52 was split between different candidates,
so she's secured about 48% of the vote.
Yeah, and she's also projected to hold a majority in the 57-seat Legislative Assembly. She's widely seen as a continuity candidate for Rodrigo Chavez, who's leaving. He's on his way out, but her campaign focused on cracking down on rising crime and violence, tapping into people's concern about insecurity, which is a bit of a departure from Costa Rica's historic image as the Switzerland of Central America. Like, it just didn't get involved in wars where everyone else was having a fight and Nicaragua was falling apart and El Salvador was becoming the murder capital of the world and Honduran president was being arrested on drugs offences and what's his name? Pablo Escobar was making a little drugs runway in the north of Isla Colón in Bocas del Toro. You can now hire a 4x4, not a 4x4, what's it called? A little quad bike. You can hire a quad bike and you can go for a scoot through the jungle and you will find the overgrown remains of Pablo Escobar's secret drugs runway that he had built in the 1980s to get drugs out of Colombia and then up through Central America. Costa Rica's long been Latin America's most stable, most democratic state, and it's avoided these cycles of authoritarianism that have plagued other Latin American countries and the violence that's come with it. And Fernandez's victory, which is on a platform that leans very much towards powerful executive action, like we've seen with Trump, security first governance and structural change, is widely interpreted as a right-wing shift that could reshape Costa Rica's institutions in not a good way, And it's very sad that the people of Costa Rica have seen what's going on in America and gone, oh yeah, we'll have some of that.
Yeah, doesn't surprise me there, but I'll keep an eye on it now that I know about it and see what happens. But yeah, according to this, I'm just reading this now. They haven't got a super majority, so there are a lot of their big, by the looks of it, promises that they made, they might not be able to do now. Or at least they're going to have to try and negotiate with other opposition parties to secure anything like constitutional change or the judicial overhaul that they apparently wanted to do. So I'll be looking at that to see how they can challenge those concerns. On that one, we'll see what the opposition goes up against them and what that's going to be like. But yeah. But it was all the crime, according to this. All about the crime.
All the crime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one person who has appeared in these Epstein papers a lot that no one seems to have mentioned in the mainstream media is Nigel Farage's name crops up quite a few times in there. Also, Brexit.
Yep.
That gets mentioned in an email about with Peter Thiel saying Brexit is just the beginning for the authoritarian the turn towards authoritarianism by the gobshites in charge.
With Starmer now like undoing, as you said, it's going to start undoing some of the Brexit damage. Oh, you should be so pushing into that now.
Yes,
should be so pushing into that.
Yeah. No, it's democratically popular
and
politically popular.
That's it. What I think is going to happen now, because if you think about all the stuff that's happened with like Mandelson today, is been kicked out of the Lords. If you haven't heard, last thing I think came out a couple of hours ago, but he's now been kicked out of the Lords.
Didn't he? He quit before he was pushed.
Gordon Brown has apparently sent something to the Met Police to investigate this. But I think the way that it should be looked at now is this should be looking as like a national security issue. Yeah. And I think it's not just like the Met that needs to get involved. I think we need to get like MI5 looking into this, like what's going on here as well. This does seem to me this has been like an international, in many ways, honeypot trap that's been run here. With links to the Kremlin. Farage gets mentioned in the documents that Bannon's been speaking to him. All this stuff that's been going along. Maybe we need to have a proper judicial investigation into what here, like a proper review.
Yeah.
Into this. I think this could start something, but this is something that will need, I think, to be pushed quite a bit. I think
we really do, and we need to be learning the mistakes that the Democrats made in America of not going after Trump with everything that they had, because sometimes to preserve democracy, you've got to do that. You can't keep giving the monsters, the demons, the baby eaters. You can't keep giving them the benefit of the doubt. You can't just go, well, they went for a whole day yesterday without eating a baby. They might have gone off eating babies. No, these people aren't going to change, and they're going to just keep taking money from any source that they can grab quite little hands on, and they're going to screw over you and me and everybody else, in the process. And that is really, really, it's the reality. It's the actual reality. I know we don't want to live in that world, but we do. And the only people who have the power to do something about this at the moment is the fucking Labour Party. And they seem to, Ollie, God, it's like, they're so slow. Trump's faster. And he's bloody mad, isn't he? He's got dementia and he shits himself. He's faster on the uptake when things happen.
Yep. To be fair, that is our politics. British politics. People do complain, why can't we be faster on doing stuff? Yeah. But this stuff just takes time. Unfortunately, that is the nature of our politics, our political system. We do things slow. That's just how it is, unfortunately, in many cases. But when we do start doing stuff, we do, get it done.
We do it really slowly.
Yeah, we just do it slowly. Which is,
but every minute that they waste, every minute that Labour waste makes them look more indecisive. And that's the last thing Labour need to look at the moment, if they want to they want to win the next election. And we have to be real here. Like, we can get excited about the Greens and Zach Balansky, and he's doing really well at the moment, but they will not get the votes that they need to get a majority. They might take some seats from Labour. Definitely, I think that's going to happen. No doubt about it. But they can't run the country on their own. I know people go, "Oh, don't be so defeatist." But do you remember when Jo Swinson was the leader of the Lib Dems?
Yep.
And she was like, "I'm going to be the Prime Minister." And everyone's like, "No, you won't.
Yeah.
No, you're the Lib Dems. You're like the party that people vote for when they don't want to vote for the other two." I think the Greens have
that's the other part that people are underestimating as well. Like the Lib Dems. People, do not forget or underestimate the Lib Dems. Ed Davey's whole mission that he's said repeatedly has been he wants to be, he's not going to win the next election. They want to be the main party of opposition. And to be honest, this is their like golden opportunity at this moment in time. I don't think they've got any more better opportunity than now, to be honest.
Yeah.
So they're doing, if you look at their moves, they're moving in a lot of old Tory territory in and around there. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting, the fight that they see. And remember, the Tories lost, I think, about 60 plus seats to the Lib Dems at the last election. So likely they could probably lose more on that one.
Yeah. So in leopards eating people's faces news, there's a Brazilian influencer who defended the US immigration crackdown and also supported Donald Trump. He's been arrested by ICE.
Oh,
ICE, baby. A Junior Pina falsely claimed migrants were being rounded up, including Brazilians. He falsely claimed that migrants who were being rounded up were all crooks. So now he's been rounded up.
Oh.
And he's been arrested by ICE agents. He's been savagely attacked by left-wing Brazilians who have said, "You supported Trump, and in the end, you suffered the consequences," wrote one, and another wrote, What goes around comes around. So listen, if you're part of a minority, right, never support the fash, because one day they will come for you. Me and Ollie, look at us. We could get away with it. You can't. Don't support the fucking fash. How many times do you have to tell them? God damn it. Stop supporting them. Anyway, so Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. It's very kind of you. Palantir's officers are regularly visited by Starmer. That's kind of depressing, isn't it? That we've got the government are doing deals with Peter Thiel's evil fucking company. This is the same government. I mean, that's not the same party, but, it's the British government who were told in no uncertain terms not to allow Huawei to have access to our 5G network because they'll be spying on everything we do. Yep. And then we hand over all this NHS data to Palantir, the company set up by the reanimated corpse of the guy who gets covered with the toxic gloop in RoboCop, if you know, Peter Thiel. It's controlled and it's named after the evil fucking seeing orbs from Lord of the Rings. Yes, I know they didn't start evil, but they were used for evil. Don't at me. But yeah, I mean, yeah. Crazy days. Should we do a very quick news roundup because we only got 8 minutes left?
Do you want to talk about Milei?
Milei? No, I don't. But go on.
Milei's in trouble in Argentina.
So it's the president of Argentina, Javier Milei, gobshite. Go on.
Yeah. So obviously he's doing his massive, shock therapy economic policies, which are basically about to, mass spending cuts. So no more subsidies for, energy, public transport, or any government programs. This has led to
for people, but he's still giving subsidies to the companies, yep. The energy companies. Yeah. They still get money.
Also led to universities no longer doing research, which has led to a huge drop off in jobs in the university sector in Argentina as well.
Yeah.
So there's now a lot of unemployed, university professors and people of that who work in universities or associated things around those universities and like involved in that research, they're all jobless now because that funding is gone. He's cut tens of thousands of state employees.
Yeah.
So they're all, they're all there, not involved anymore. He's scaled back like state control. He's deregulated pretty much everything. There's literally next to no almost regulation now in Argentina. Full on privatization. He's gotten rid of price controls when it comes to like rent and food. So prices for like regular people have absolutely skyrocketed. So this is now leading to widespread mass demonstrations. So there's pretty much been now weekly protests in the capital. There is a general strike now going to go ahead on this. There's now clashes now with police that are happening near Congress because they're trying to say, hey, you guys need to stop him from doing all this. But also, because of these policies that he's now pursued, there's been a really, really big wildfire in is it Patagonia?
Yeah,
I think it is the Patagonia region. I believe it is. So these wildfires have just gone completely out of the control because after you've had this like mass austerity, lay off all these employees, you don't, fund, the stuff to look after this stuff. The firefighting agencies basically don't have the equipment necessary to fight this fire. The environmental agencies can't do anything.
Who could have possibly foreseen this?
He's gutted them, and it is absolutely hampered. Is absolutely hampered the response.
That's a nightmare, isn't it?
To this, so Milei right now is absolutely, getting hammered in this. And you may remember just late last year they had those big. I've forgotten now. Yeah, they had the big elections last month for the Senate and the Congress where Milei's party won.
Oh yeah, because Trump gave him a massive bump, gave him $40 billion
exactly,
in used £5 notes.
Yeah, because Trump gave him a massive physical money loan.
Yeah, stuff in an envelope and stuff down the back of the radiator in the gents' toilet.
And that is not going to last longer, depending on how they're, how they're using the public is, taking that money and then they're taking it across the border and then they're buying stuff in like Brazil or Uruguay. That's where they're getting all like their consumer and electronic goods. So all that money that Trump has gave them is now going out of the country, which sooner or later means they might need yet another loan.
Yeah.
Whether Trump will give them that or not, who knows? Because remember, they've already had one of the biggest physical loans in IMF history.
Yeah.
With that, Trump, of course, bailed him out as well with like a really big physical loan. How long is it going to last? Eventually, like the Argentine economy is just going to blow up.
Yeah,
and it's just a matter of time.
But this is the thing, Ollie. This is the thing. This is what the Fash want. They want people to lose everything, and then what they do is they turn around and say, "Do you know why you've lost everything? It's because of the trans people. It's because of the immigrants. It's because of the refugees. It's because of the single mothers. It's because of the Muslims. It's because," and they'll pick on a segment of society for everyone to turn on for all of the problems that have been caused by the Fash in the first place. This is textbook stuff by them. So this is why I keep going. Like I don't see any particularly democratic way out of the situation in America. Like the only way out of that situation is Trump not being with us anymore, so to speak, by natural processes, which may happen sooner rather than later. I don't know. Or, someone has to take him out, and I don't mean for pizza. Ms. Paula Thomas, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. That's very kind of you. Patagonia, where they speak Welsh. Yes, they do speak Welsh in Patagonia because a lot of Welsh coal miners moved there in the 20th century, and they have a big Welsh tradition over there. So big thank you to Miss Paula Thomas for also setting up our confetti cannon. Woo! Our second confetti cannon of the day, just in time for the end of the show. But I'm going to do a very, very quick news in briefs, because I'm only wearing underpants under here. I'm joking. I'm not. I've got trousers on. Don't get too excited. Spain moving to ban social media for under 16s, following in the lead of Australia. And we've also got the EU digital sovereignty. They're looking to take control of key tech, especially cloud-sourced data. And also NATO is starting planning an Arctic Sentry, which is an enhanced vigilante, fucking hell, what's wrong with me today? Enhanced vigilance activity, vigilante, or it's kind of like Dirty Harry, not Dirty Harry, was it? Death Wish. It's about Charles Bronson going up to the fucking Arctic to get his revenge. Enhanced vigilance activity called Arctic Sentry that they're trying to bring in. France has warned the France's armed forces minister, a guy called Fabien Mandon, has warned that France lacks sufficient warships and shipborne missiles that could lead in an era that could lead to war. So they're looking to ramp war spending up, like most countries are, unfortunately, because of Trump, because of Milei, because of Putin, because of Orban. You could get all the men who are ruining the world in a room. There's about 20 of them, and just lock the door. That's it. Problem solved. I know that more will come along, but it takes a long process to get these people into the place where the gobshites want them to be. Don't forget, it took 50 years for the Heritage Foundation in America to actually get their dream of someone like Trump into the White House. Sweden and Denmark have bought air defense for Ukraine. This is Trident, it's called. They will jointly procure and supply Ukraine with Trident air defense systems worth 2.6 billion Swedish krona, which is about $290 million, with Sweden funding the bulk of that. And it's being developed by BAE Systems Bofors. Kazakhstan is under pressure over sanctions evasion. This is about Kazakhstan, about the EU sanctions envoy going over there on the 26th of February, amid reports that the EU may restrict some exports to Kazakhstan for allegedly facilitating sanctions evasions from Russia, which wouldn't surprise me because Kyrgyzstan. Sorry, I met someone from Kyrgyzstan at the weekend, actually, at the Adventure Travel Show. They're obviously one of the old states of the USSR, one of the 15 successor countries to the USSR, and still have very close links with Russia, and a poor country as well. So Russia can obviously take advantage. EU has said they're open to customs talks or customs union talks with the EU, but with strings. But also they've also said they're up for talks about the going back into that defense pact that we abandoned last year. So hopefully they're going to have talks about that. And then finally, there is there's the royal family scandal we got over here with the artist formerly known as Prince Andrew. Well, in Norway, Marius Borg Høiby, I'm hoping I'm saying that right, sorry if I'm not, who's the son of Norway's crown princess, not a working royal, but he has pled not guilty to multiple charges, including rape. He's gone on trial today, and this is going to be, this is going to really shake the institution of the monarchy in Norway, because the monarchy there is seen as a national symbol, and it could go one of two ways. I think if he's obviously done it, but he gets away with it, then it's going to create a lot of tension. If he goes to jail for a very long time, like anyone else would, I think that might actually generate more support for the royal family over there, because they'll think, oh well, he's just like us, and unlike Trump, he's not above the law. Unlike Farage, he's not above the law. So there you go. That's a quick roundup. Sorry, I went a bit over there. You got anything to add before we run away and leave everyone in
I did want to talk about the UN money troubles apparently that they're having for funding.
Is this because Trump's pulled out of every single international organization?
Trump has pulled out funding from the UN, which could have a lot of implications for that, because the UN do a lot of good stuff with that money.
Antonio Guterres has said that the UN risks imminent financial collapse, which is what Trump wants. It's what all the gobshites wanted. Their Council of Peace. They got all the dictators together and the Disney villains. What do you think?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but hopefully this can be solved, because we don't want this. Last thing we need at this point in time is the UN going under. Honestly,
yes, there's a lot of wars around the world that nobody knows about that are being held back by UN peacekeepers.
Yep.
Okay, so going to head off now, and thank you very much to my wonderful co-host, Ollie, for giving up his time this Tuesday evening to talk to us about what's happening around the world, not necessarily in the US and the UK, but it usually comes back here, doesn't it, one way or another?
One way or another. Yeah.
This is the everything's connected. In the world, everything is connected. Something happens in Somalia, it affects people in Hong Kong. Something happens in Palau, and it'll affect people, in Chile. It's just the way the world is. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, everyone. Thanks to everyone who chipped in with a super chat. And thanks to everyone who has chipped in with a comment as well. If you would like to join us for comments in the future, just hit the subscribe button now. And then in future installments, you'll be allowed to comment. I'll be back in the morning at 9 o'clock for Morning Brew. And then we've got a packed day tomorrow because at 12 o'clock we have the Prime Minister's questions, which isn't so wonderful. But then at 6 o'clock, I'll be hanging out with Rachel Harris, and we'll be jumping down the rabbit hole together, where we'll be talking a load of interesting stuff, I hope, that has got nothing to do with politics. It's our Anything But Politics show. It's our weekly Anything But Politics show at 6 o'clock. So they're all live, all available here on Politics Social, or you can listen to us as a podcast on YouTube Music if you want to. So it's good night from me, good night from Ollie, and until next time, give us a like on the way out. Hello, good evening, welcome, and say hello to Maximilian for us, and apologize for being late. That's my fault. Blame it on me. It's okay. And goodbye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. It says I was wrong, and I expect responsibility. That was for the show the other day. Sorry about that. I don't know if I was wrong.